So how crucial is for IATA, aviation connectivity and competitiveness in Europe in the upcoming year 2023?
Yes, I think that, of course, not wanting to exaggerate our own importance. Yeah, there are many forms of connectivity in the world, and air transport is one of them. And all of these forms of connectivity are absolutely essential for economic development. And you know, I cannot say whether air transport is the single most important one of those, but it certainly is a very important one because we can see with econometrics of the eye, we can see a phenomenal correlation just around the moment when the jet engine was invented in 1939. And then we had the Chicago Convention signed in 1944. And shortly thereafter, in the 50s, came the jet planes. And this is exactly the period in time where charts of world GDP per capita all of a sudden take off in a more on a more exponential path. So, whether we are the single most important factor to contribute to that or not is not really the most important message. The most important message is that we are an essential part of that evolution. So connectivity remains very critical for all forms of economic development everywhere. And sometimes in Europe, we can perhaps lose sight of the fact that we could still do better. Yeah, because we're a very privileged continent where most people actually have access and can afford to fly by airplane to do business or for leisure purposes or indeed cargo. But there are still areas of Europe that are not very well connected, and again, this is where we need more public-private partnerships probably to bring those facilities to the more remote and underserved communities in Europe, and they still deserve our attention, even if they happen to be located in a rather wealthy continent. Now, of course, there are other continents who deserve our attention perhaps more desperately, where people are really in acute lack of this form of connectivity. And of course, many of those countries that are today still the poorest countries in our world are the ones, for instance, the landlocked countries in Central Africa that lack both road and rail and ports and aviation. So there's definitely a scale of priorities here, but there's no doubt in my mind that air transportation is a very important ingredient for the world to be able to deliver on the sustainable development goals and that of eradicating poverty in particular. Let us fly.